Hey guys, a lot of you like to ask me how to set up an LLC or a corporation. That's a really big question I get often. So I want to explain to you that entities are regulated by the state in which you operate in. The Secretary of State is responsible for creation and regulating entities. So if you want to set up an LLC, a C Corp, or an S Corp, it is absolutely going to go through the Secretary of State. Now, what's important is if you are setting up a corporation, you are going to have articles of incorporation. And articles of incorporation are literally a couple of pieces of paper that says you have officially filed with your Secretary of State. They're going to give you a corporate number. It's going to talk about how many shares of stock that you can issue. And it's really an official document, sort of like a birth certificate when someone is being born. It is like your corporation just became born on that day with the Secretary of State. If you are setting up an LLC, you're still going to go through the Secretary of State, but instead of having articles of incorporation, you're going to have articles of organization, a little bit different. With an LLC, there is no stocks. You're going to have members. You can have managing members, different types of members, but there's members in an LLC and stockholders in a corporation. That's really one of the big distinctive differences. Once you get your articles of organization or incorporation, you now need to head over to IRS. Why is that? Because IRS will now register your corporation and give you a federal identification number or your EIN number. So now your new baby has a Social Security number for business, which is an EIN number. Whether it's a corporation, an LLC, you gotta have that EIN number. That's really, really important that you have that. Once you get your EIN number, you have basically said to the IRS, hello, I'm here. And you know what you've done? You just created a filing requirement with the government. They are now going to send you an SS5 letter, which is going to tell you, hello, I now have you registered as an LLC or a corporation. You now need to file your tax return on this particular date. Here's your EIN number, and they now have you officially in their system. So you created two hurdles and you've gotten over them. What's the third thing that you need to do? Once you do that, you got to take those articles and that EIN number and you got to head down to your bank, because now you need to open up an official bank account for your entity, and they are going to require those two documents. You go down to your local bank, you get your bank account open, and it's going to be a corporate account or your LLC bank account, literally by the name that you registered with, the Secretary of State. Now you're official. You have your articles of incorporation or organization, your EIN number, and now you have your bank account. But hold on just one second. There's another very important fourth step that you must take, and that is called capitalizing your entity. What does that mean? That means that you need to take some money and put into your entity bank account and properly capitalize the entity. That's a very important step that you must do. And that step, my friends, is often overlooked. That step causes for your corporations and entity to be collapsed because you never properly funded the entity. And that's an important step to make sure that your entity is moving in the right direction. So once you do that, consider yourself an official entity. You have your bank account, you have money in it, and now you can start doing business under the entity's name. You're officially official, you're in business now, but you want to make sure every single year, if you are a corporation, you want to make sure that you do your statement of information with the Secretary of State every year. If you are an LLC, you will do it every other year. Important so that your corporation or entity stays on the straight and the narrow and stays in compliance. That is how you create a corporation or an LLC.